All right, good evening, Phillies fans, and welcome back to the Fighting's Final here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Your boy Matty B on the call, and the Phillies come out and get the thing rolling right tonight. 7-2 winners over them dreadful Miami Marlins, boy. Good God, they stink. But we talked about this on the final last night. This is an opportunity now for this team to sort of kind of catch its breath and beat up on some lesser talent, and tonight they definitely started that out. Zach Wheeler was wheeling and dealing tonight. A very strong start as he kind of bounced back from his last time out. And Sandy Alcantara, Tommy John is Tommy John. And I don't want to say this, but as we deal with our own potential ace or ace of the future coming back from Tommy John, and I'm not saying Alcantara's washed. I'm not saying that, but you got to look at Tommy John and really kind of take it in its stride. And Alcantara just did not look good tonight. The Phillies got on him early. They got on him often, and they ended up chasing him out of there. Alcantara's final line on the day was a putrid 2 innings pitched, 4 hits, 6 runs. They were all earned. He walked 2, and he struck out 1 and gave up the home run, the moonshot to Bryce Harper. And all that helped the Phillies on route to a 7-2 win over the Marlins tonight. And welcome to the Fighting's Final. Matty B in for Big Al. That's right. I mentioned that there'd be a possibility that I would be in tonight for Al, but that possibility came a reality, and I'm in for Al tonight. So that's all good. I'll take the win, 7-1 now as the host of the Fighting's Final. And this will be my final until I think Wednesday against the Mets. I'm back and I'll be going live from Florida for that one. So let's get into it right now. Jeanette says, rooting for Brandon Marsh. You're the only one. I'm sorry. Just kind of saying it like it is. What's up, Maddie? Happy Friday. Adam, how you doing? It is indeed a happy Friday, especially when you can get things rolling in the right way. The Marlins are a substandard baseball team, and the Phillies handled their business today against that substandard baseball team. To a tune of 7-2. And some of the things that have been lacking for the Phillies over the past week and a half were not lacking tonight. They were a decent, they raised their risk tonight. They were on the night with runners in scoring position. The team was, what were they, 2 for 7? Something like that. Yeah, 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. That's not great, but I'll take that versus 1 for 13 or 0 for 10. They are now batting as a team with runners in scoring position. I think they're up to 208 now as they're fighting their way out of that hole. Yeah, 208. They were below 200 a couple days ago, but up to 208 now. But Zach, let's focus on tonight. Let's focus on Zach Wheeler. Kind of, bounced back from a not so great start the last time out. Remember, it was the Chris Sale, Zach Wheeler pitcher's duel that everyone was hoping that would get. They didn't get that. It was runs galore. Tonight, it has sort of the same sort of undertones, the Sandy Alcantara versus Zach Wheeler pitching duel, but that didn't come to fruition because Alcantara was all over the place, up, in, over, and out, as Alcantara didn't last long in this game. But I still think Alcantara is a quality arm, and I do honestly feel that come July, come the trade deadline, Alcantara is going to be a hot name because I think by July he'll kind of work himself into some midseason form and be back to hopefully semblance of that dominant pitcher. And he would definitely serve any pennant team or any team with pennant aspirations very nicely down the stretch of the season if he can recapture that Cy Young form that he had a couple of years ago. But Tommy John is not a joke, and not to say that this was a preview of what Andrew Painter might be going through at some point when he makes it to the majors. But it's just sort of like a cautionary tale, I guess, just to sort of be patient with Painter when it comes back from Tommy John. So, but let's take a look at this game. Let's go through the box score. On the night, the Phillies were, the Marlins 2 runs on 5 hits, no errors. Phillies 7 runs on 9 hits. The offensive standouts, Bryson Stott leading off tonight. And now, if you're keeping track at home like I am, Bryson Stott has now moved into second place alone in the leadoff carousel. Schwarber still leads the way with 9. Stott now has led off 6 times, and Turner has led off 5 times. So Bryson Stott has moved into second place all alone in the leadoff carousel in the team with no rolls. Phillies 7 runs on, did I say that? Yeah. So offensive standouts. Stott, though, was 1 for 4 with the RBI in the leadoff spot. He did strike out once. The big night went to Actually, Nick Castellanos, 2 for 3. Was started. Listen, he's been very consistent. Consistent Nick and consistent Schwarber again tonight. Schwarber 1 for 3, had the big time home run, kind of like sealed the deal in this game. He's batting up to now 319 on this, or I'm sorry, 286. Castellanos is 319. The Phillies are getting some consistent bats in the middle of the lineup. And now that you can kind of factor in Bryce Harper, who had the homer tonight on a 1 for 3 night with 2 RBIs, he's up to 264. If Harper can heat up, that middle of the lineup could be a very, very damaging thing for other offenses to deal with. JT also had a hit as his average went up to 217. Kepler, no hits, 0 for 3. Did score a run though and got on base via the walk. But that's it, as Kepler continues to struggle. Alec Bohm tonight, 1 for 4, baby, with an RBI. That's right, Alec Bohm. He's now hit 5 in his last 5 games. Has now hit safely in his last 5 games. It's Alec Bohm battling out of this. And Johan Rojas with the multiple hit night. So it's funny how, fortunes can turn in baseball, especially when you're playing a team that's not necessarily going to be there in October. And, I think the Phillies need to take caution in that as well. And so should Philly fans. Now, it would be a totally other situation if the Phillies got swept or lost tonight or end up losing this series to the Marlins. But I think we definitely have to keep it in context either way, which we won't. We'll blow it out of context when we sweep them or we win the series, and we'll jump off the bridge if we do not sweep them or do not win the series. For the Marlins, some of these household names that I've never heard of before. Xavier Edwards, 1 for 4. He was one of the offensive leaders. So was Stowers. It was 1 for 4. Wegeman with the home run tonight for the Marlins, I guess, accounted for most or all of their offense. 1 for 3 with a run and 2 RBIs. And Norby had a hit as long with Lopez. So household names they are not for the Marlins, as they are definitely in a rebuild. Zach Wheeler, 7's very strong, gets the win. 2-1 now in the year. 2 runs they were earned. 13 freaking strikeouts and a home run. 96 pitches through 7 innings. I can live with that. Tanner Banks came in and pitched a wonky 8th, and then Ruiz comes in the 9th and gets nothing, just gets the game over with. Alcantara mentioned 2 innings, 4 hits, 4 hits, 6 runs. They were all earned. 2 walks, a strikeout, and the home run. Viencio, no. Sereno, Tyler Phillips, an old familiar friend. I actually pulled his rookie card from last year out of a pack of Topps 2025 Series 1. Still wearing his Phillies uniform. And Tinico all came in a losing cause for the Marlins. The Phillies were 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They left 6 on base for the night. No stolen bases tonight for the Phillies. Absolutely none. For the Marlins, they were 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position and left 5 on base and had no stolen bases either. Scoring summary: Harper would get it rolling early in the first inning. He would get the 2-run shot, knocking in Turner to make it 2-0 in the first. Bohm with them knocking Kepler to make it 3-0 in the second. Rojas would knock in Real Muto to make it 4-0 in the second, and Stott with sac fly in Bohm to make it 5-0 in the second, capping off a 3-run second inning. Schwarber would then get the homer, the solo shot to make it. Rojas would score. Sorry, it was a 4-run second inning because Rojas would also score on Alcantara's wild pitch. I think that was pretty much it for him. Schwarber then would hit the homer in the 5th, the solo shot. Wegeman would homer in the 6th, a 2-run shot. And there you go. 7-2 is your final. And Phillies are looking good. Looking good tonight, at least, as it was definitely the Zach Wheeler show, Phillies pitching scattering 5 hits through tonight's game. And you gotta feel good about it, man. You gotta feel good about any kind of win that the Phillies can get. And definitely tonight was a step in the right direction. Nick Castellanos off with a hip injury, but he will play tomorrow. He don't miss any games. Well, didn't he leave the other night too with the hip? I mean, this is the second straight time, or was that the other night? He didn't leave tonight, did he? I know it's a strain, they're calling it. It's a day-to-day, but you're right. That middle of the lineup, if there's been any constant about the Phillies this season so far in this up and down 12-8 start, it's been the play of Schwarber and Castellanos right there smack dab in the middle. Harper's been like the kind of the weak link as he tries to kind of heat up. If they can get the middle part of that lineup going, maybe that provides a little protection for the bottom of the order, because that bottom third of that lineup is doing jack smack. But if the middle of the lineup can get going, maybe things sort of balance out for the bottom part of the lineup. But got to be happy tonight. 7-2 Phillies with the win. Now in the season, they are now 12-8. They have themselves an old-fashioned 2-game winning streak, and we'll look to get things rolling again tomorrow. And the City Connects are now 2-0 for 2025. For those of you keeping track at home, and of course I am. I always do that stuff, keeping track of what they're wearing and what it looks like. But yeah, so the Phillies, let's bring up this. So the Phillies with the 7-2 win. All right, let's go now to our Broad Street bottom line. And let me bring it up. I'm sleep at the switch a little bit on that. All right, tonight's Broad Street Bottom Line is brought to you here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network by the fine folks that bring you the Final Word with Matty B every Sunday through Thursday at 10 p.m. Yours truly will be your final stop, your final word in your Philadelphia sports day, except for this week. I am on vacation. Starting as soon as I go off the air tonight, I'm going on vacation. So there'll be no final word this week. But starting again next week, I'll be back and we'll get things rolling again. But don't forget the final word, your final destination, your sports night. The Broad Street Bottom Line to me, purely simple. You can kind of look at this a little bit like, well, they struggled so hard against teams like the Braves. They struggled against the Braves, the Cardinals. I mean, they've struggled, right? And then, they got the split against San Francisco. It wasn't the prettiest thing in the world, but they got the split. Now they got an opportunity sandwiched in between the Mets and the Giants is the Marlins. And you got to go into this series not underestimating anybody. But you also can't downplay winning games that you're supposed to win. And the Phillies need to do that. Everybody needs to do that in terms of trying to make a World Series run. Are the Marlins going to be standing in our way in October? Probably not, right? No, they probably won't be, but they're standing in our way right now. And the Phillies got to handle who they got to play and who they got to beat right now. And they got to go out and do that. They got to sweep the Marlins. We got the Mets coming down the pike here next week on Monday. You got to go into that series feeling extremely good about yourself. And tonight was a good first step in that. Play who you are supposed to play and beat who you're supposed to play, and everything will be fine. I'm not discrediting this win. I'm not saying, well, it's the Marlins. They should have won. They should have won. But I'm not going to discredit any win. So enjoy the win. It's a win. Doesn't matter who it's against. And the Phillies deserved it because they went out and they played the better game. 7-2 winners. And there you have your Broad Street Bottom Line. And now let's get to rounding some bases. All right, let's go around the bases here on games that have first gone final on this Friday night. It was 7-3 Detroit over Kansas City. It was 1-0 Yankees over the Rays, 3-1 Blue Jays over the Mariners, and 10-3 Red Sox over the White Sox. The Nationals were postponed out in Colorado against the Rockies. And another note before we move on to other games, that Yankee-Rays game was played it was a home game for the Rays, played at Legends Field or Steinbrenner Stadium, whatever you want to call it, the spring training home of the aforementioned New York Yankees, as the Rays are playing their home games there this year as Tropicana Field, I guess, gets repaired. So the Yankees had to go into their own spring training facility as the visitors. Must have been weird for them. Games that are still ongoing on this Friday evening in the bottom of the ninth, it is 10-7 Cleveland over Pittsburgh. In the bottom of the ninth, also in Baltimore, it is 8-3 the Reds over the Orioles. Top of 9 in Queens, 4-3 Mets over the Cardinals. Bottom of 8th in Atlanta, 4-1 Twins over the Braves. Bottom of the 7th, it is 1-0 Dodgers over the Rangers. Top of the 5th, it is 2-0 Brewers over the A's. In the top of the 6th, it is 5-2 Astros over the Padres. Just underway out in the Big A, it is 0-0 Giants and Angels, and that's it. That's your scores on this Friday night, and we went round the bases. Tomorrow, the Phillies and Marlins will keep this thing going again. Game 2 of the 3-game set at 1:05 p.m. Cal Quantrill will get the nod for the Marlins, and he'll be opposed by Taijuan Walker, who, aside from one inning where he gave up 6 runs, has been pretty good. You got to win tomorrow. You got to keep winning, and this is a winnable game. Quantrill, maybe we'll make him look like Cy Young. I don't know, but Quantrill is hittable, and he's beatable. Phillies got to lay it to him. They got to take it to him. Quantrill will be coming into this game with he's given up 9 earned runs, 2 homers, 6 walks, and struck out 8. He is definitely hittable, and we need to go out and we need to hit him. And you might have to, based on the fact that you got Taijuan Walker throwing on the other side. But Phillies have an opportunity, by the way, and also Quantrill's ERA is north of 5.79. So it's a winnable game tomorrow. It might be a slugfest. There might be a lot of runs scored, but the Phillies got to go out and handle their business. And it'll be so it's Quantrill versus Taijuan Walker tomorrow, 105 start at Citizen Bank Park. Yeah, Mike, it was a very good win tonight. Any win is a good win. Ricky Deal saying, Ricky is watching. Yes, you are, Ricky. Bohm got another hit. Yes, he did. He's going to the All-Star game. Now, listen, but all seriousness, this is his 5th straight game with a hit. You gotta give credit where it's credit due. I mean, I think we can get on him, but we got to be equally fair when dwelling out some praise. 5-game hit streak is modest, yes, but from, in his standpoint, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. So, Alec Bohm though did contribute tonight, and Ricky said, "What's up, man? Nothing much, Ricky. Just filling in tonight for Big Al on the Fighting's final, and getting ready to. Literally, I got to be on an airplane in about 7 hours, so I'm gonna wrap this up here so I can get some sleep. But big win for the Phillies tonight, 7-2 winners over the Miami Marlins, and we'll get ready for tomorrow, 105 at the bank." It'll be Cal Quantrill versus Taijuan Walker here on the network. Here is your schedule for the Fighting's final for the rest of the weekend. Big Mike will be coming at you tomorrow, and then Sunday will be Pat Bernard. And also tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Remember, here on the SRAP Sports, because of the Easter weekend, Pat Bernard will come at you with the wraparound tomorrow morning at 9. So for those of you that are looking to wake up feeling really good about yourself, don't watch. No, I'm just kidding. Watch this show. Enjoy Pat, as he'll be coming at you tomorrow morning at 9, not Sunday. And then every Thursday night at 9 is the Attacking Third program here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And, just continue to help us out, like, subscribe, share, all those things that you do in order for us to continue to grow this thing. And we are going to get back at this tomorrow. So good show, and have a great, thank you guys. Thank you, Michael. I'll be back next week. You'll be seeing me. I'll be doing at least one Fighting's final tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but I think I got the Wednesday game against the Mets. I'll be doing that from Florida, but that's the only final I'll be doing. But there'll be no final word until next Sunday, not this coming, but the following. We'll be live tomorrow right after the game, Ricky. Right after the game. Have a great vacation, Matty B. Enjoy it. Thank you, Adam. Thank you for everyone's support out there. Again, let me just rephrase. I'm 7-1 now as your host of the Fighting's Final. 7-1. I am blowing away the competition. And tonight, the Phillies, with their win, are now 2-0 on the season with them dreadful, god-awful City Connect uniforms. 7-2 final. Zach Wheeler was amazingly dominant. Phillies pitching on the night struck out 16 Marlins. Wheeler struck out 13 on his own. Alcantara not looking like the 2022 Alcantara, but he will get back to that form. But the Phillies took advantage of the not that form tonight, and they beat a lesser opponent. But it goes up on the win column. It goes up in the standings as a win, and that's what you got to do. And that was my Broad Street bottom line. You got to win the games that are in front of you. We'd be a lot angrier if they would have lost this game. So they won the game tomorrow. Go out and beat Quantrill and the rest of the Marlins, and then on Sunday, wrap this bad boy up, and let's go to Flushing. Let's go up to Queens in a huge series. A statement series? I don't know. Thompson ain't going to play like that. But this is a huge series starting Monday against the Mets. It's revenge. It's not revenge. Revenge will come in October, but it's time to get back up on the horse against the Mets and play a lot better against them. So I'm looking forward to that series on Monday against the Mets, but we got to handle our business first against the Marlins, and tonight was a step in the right direction. Thank you, Ricky. I will. And I will see you guys sometime next week. I think it's Wednesday. I got the Wednesday game in the afternoon. I'll be probably coming to you via the beach. So be making sure you're checking me out as I will give you the Fightins final from St. Augustine, Florida. And then I'll be back home and on air for the final word on April 27th. So that's going to do it. It's been great. You guys have a great rest of your night and a pleasant weekend. And before I say adios, I got to hear from one more person. You know who that is. Harry the K. Oh, and happy Mike Schmidt 500 home run day, everybody. Harry the K, what you got?